right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part. So make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch, including a phone case. Look at that beautiful face. Only at TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server that is absolutely free to join. 24/7, we're in there hanging out, having interesting conversations. It is a great place to meet new people. And again, it is absolutely free. I forgot to drop the link, but I will do that in 1 second. However, guys, it is free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video, hit that join button. There's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. It's your members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it also opens up the full Discord, guys. So not only do we have the free chat, we have a bunch of other channels, and we have the voice channels where we have the after party. As soon as we are done here, we head over there. We don't got to worry about any YouTube censors or anything like that, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. And speaking of joining us, we have a very special guest. Please help me welcome Culture Casino. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I was so grateful to make your acquaintance. Now I'm happy to be on your channel. I have to tell you, you are a spitfire, and so is everybody else around you. So I love it. This is great. Good times. Thanks for having me.
I'm very glad you're here. In case anybody doesn't know, who are you? What do you do? And where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm Culture Casino. I have a YouTube channel, Rumble channel. I'm on Odyssey, Minds, Getter, and of course X, which some people still call Twitter, like me, because I'm never going to get over that. But I will tell you that you can find valuable information and, of course, wonderful content on my YouTube channel. You can also see me regularly over on X because I can't keep my mouth closed. In fact, I've been in Twitter jail. It's not as boxy as like being a J6er, but I felt like for a moment that kind of felt that way, a little restrictive. But I will say this: we've got a lot to offer over there. Our latest video just dropped about an hour and 15 minutes ago over there, talking about how Snow White is going to kill the girl boss films going forward at Disney. And stuff like that. So I talk about everything. I stick it in the entertainment business side of things. I always want to see if something's making money. So that's kind of what I do. I evaluate from a business point of view whether or not this is a good plan. Oftentimes, I expose what I think is pure neo-Marxism, which actually kind of is the Disney company these days. So if you're interested, I do daily live streams, including 5 days a week. During the weekdays, I do the 6-minute daily. That's where the 6 came in. And then I also do a live stream on Saturday and a late night live stream on Sunday, where we get a little loose over there, and it's more comedy variety show based, and I love doing that. But I'm glad to be here. I got a chance to hang out with Lutch, and I want to make an impression. So yeah, hello everybody in the chat.
Let's do it. And yes, shout out to King Nirvana in the building. We got Arrow in the building. And shout out to the Camcast. Welcome to the party. And already, guys, shout out to Arrow for becoming the sponsor of the stream. No question, no comment. Just pure love of the Overlord. That is right. Every donation comes with a treat for Morty. All right. So, yeah, I was checking out your channel a little bit before, and I like the vibe of the pop culture. Though I wish I would have injected more pop culture into this when I started, because that's obviously I care a lot about politics and religion and that stuff. But like whenever I'm not here, I'm watching something on TV. I'm breaking down this, that, whatever. So that is a really cool aspect of your channel.
Yeah, I love doing what I do. From day one, it was one of the reasons I actually got into this, because I was like, why is all my entertainment crap? And I found out real fast, and then I started to do more research. And then I looked at it again. I can't help it. I like to take a step back, just like everybody that runs the company. And I like to take a step back, take a look what's going on. And I thought that was the best way to look at it. Just say, okay, this is not a moneymaker. Whatever you're doing is, and you can only afford to have your company operate on loss leaders for so long.
Oh, yeah.
You have to find a profit center. And Disney had a built-in one that they're actually destroying because of their lousy performance in entertainment. So there's that. But
they are definitely going in the wrong direction. And I really thought that we would see like the attempt that they would go in and try all this woke DEI, feminist, all this stuff, and then it wouldn't work, and then they go back. But for some reason, they haven't gone back. They're just doubling down.
Yeah, and in the chat here, of course, this is true.
Shout out to Richard here.
Yeah, Richard, they absolutely did destroy the show. I mean, it started out so great, and there's a certain amount of girl boss, even in our own lives, in our daily lives, that exists. But here's the thing: there's a lot more balance in life, and the problem is that Hollywood cannot get there anymore. They have no idea or understanding about balance, and even if they do, they're so ingrained in their ideology or their what is it? Their failed attempts at changing culture and society. We just watched the actual reality of it all in a recent election. So widely, everybody is rejecting this stuff. They know from whence it comes. Even the normies out there, the people who don't focus on it like I do. So I feel like, hey, we're headed in the right direction. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but to some extent, my friend, I think that even Disney's coming to reality with that. We'll see, because if Snow White flops and fails the way it's going to, especially on the budget that is largely maybe the second most expensive movie that Disney releases this year, not ever, but this year. I mean, the most expensive flop that they're funding right now is going to be the Brave New World bologna sausage that just crash banged into a wall recently.
I haven't heard about this. What is that?
Well, Brave New World is the Captain America 4 film. And
yeah.
I'm sorry. I referred to it as its subtitle. Yeah. But anyway, no, but it's boned. And then Anthony Mackie sticks both feet in his mouth with plenty of extra room to spare, apparently. Yeah.
At first, when I heard it, I was like, who did I hear it from? Oh, it was some guy on TikTok where it cut off right. It seemed like it was a bad edit. And the guy was reacting to it like, it was basically saying, the Captain America shield or moniker or whatever it is shouldn't stand for America. And then it cut. And so he was like, well, then don't be Captain America. I'm like, is that all he said? And, it's not as bad as being anti-American. He just goes on to say, I'd rather it be more about trustworthiness and dependability. But I think that is still a, undercutting what Captain America was always supposed to be.
Well, it is. And of course, if you understand that the character is Captain America, the virtue and the greatness of America, that's what it was. It because there was only one super soldier, it had to be more than just, the virtue. It had to be also performative. And it's funny when it comes to the left's version of performative, it's like acknowledging that there is a cult that you are constantly bowing to that makes no sense, makes no money, and nobody's really interested in, and trying to pretend that that's the greater good. Whereas Captain America as a character was virtuous. It was basically the defining elements of what America is supposed to be, right? Opportunity, strength, sincerity, honesty, perseverance. I mean, I can go through a laundry list of adjectives here.
Yeah, but and then there's also that balance of being not so able, but being willing to to sacrifice.
Yeah, and that's again something. Again, the other part of the virtue signaling side does not understand sacrifice. No, unless it's them sacrificing the people that they're stepping on to try to say they're helping.
But they'll sacrifice you.
Yeah,
like, you sacrifice. That's our sacrifice. Like, it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, and welcome to the show, says D Tricks. I will tell you this, my friend. Yes, I've been told many times I looked like Gandalf. I was even more Gandalf looking at Christmas. I was rocking the Santa beard. I looked like a Duck Dynasty guy. I was telling Alutch behind the scenes. It's true. And look, I embody that. I actually have a clip of me dancing. If you ever watch the Sunday night show, the late night culture show, you will actually see the first commercial bit. It's a bit that we run. We're not really sponsored by anybody. Nobody loves us that much. I mean, we have a huge audience, but nobody loves us. Anyway, but the first clip you see is me as Hobo Gandalf dancing. It's ridiculous. The original cut was like 5 minutes long.
In the videos where you have that clip.
Yeah, I'm rock. Yeah. So like the way the shows are, the way I break up that show in particular is with little bit segment commercials that are complete parody or satire or just humor. I'm into a lot of college humor. Even despite my advanced look and age, but no, so that's kind of leaks into that program, which is what I love about it. But so I don't mind being called Santa or one of the Duck Dynasty guys, or unfortunately the patriarch of that family has dementia. So he was an incredible NFL football player, by the way. That is one guy you did not want to get hit by if you're playing football. But Mr. Robinson. But anyway,
shout out to Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, but I will tell you, that anyway, I can talk forever. I'll need to be quiet. You're gonna have to shut me up at some point because
will do. Okay. Well, Richard here has a good, saying you have a good point, but also making his own good point. Like, clearly, this stuff is losing money over and over again. So, what is the real agenda behind it? Since we know it's not making money. And before I throw it to you, I would say that it is unfortunately making money. That's the problem, that it is making money, not as much as if they just didn't have all of that. But the when we were still talking about DEI, ESG, social credit scores, that seemed to be what I saw as the real agenda. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. As a matter of fact, actually, you just have to consider who's on their board and who's actually getting them money to make these projects. To make a film, you almost always rely on somebody else's money. That's just one of the things that you do. And it comes at a given rate. So when you look at who's like involved in Disney at a board level, again, a corporate board level, right? You find right at the top of the class, BlackRock. BlackRock helped Disney select their board of directors. Right. Yep. So did Vanguard. So did State Street. So these investment houses that are not representing retail investors in any way have been forcing changes. You've heard that said by Larry Fink before, I would imagine, that they have to force change on people. And that's where all this DEI baloney sausage comes from. If you're looking for what's happening in the medical industry, look at Bill Gates. If you're looking at what's happening in subverting our culture, you look at George Soros. You look at these people who are trying to wave this influence to create a new a lord and serf culture. You're just a pleb, kids. You don't know that yet, but these douchebags are trying to make you that. So don't let them. Regardless, I just want to say,
so does that? I wonder then, because you're going back to Richard's question here about since it's not making money, if it is all about pushing that agenda and not making money in the short term, but taking over, and then there's no other choice. Even still, it seems to be like, okay, if we could do that, then we could have done that, but that's not working, and it's not like people didn't like movies before. It's just very strange.
Okay, so take it back a few years, right? When the MCU was unstoppable force and was not being, I don't want to say this way, wasn't being forced. Okay, they're careful words. To lean into these DEI equations, right? There were no, forced girl bosses. All of these people existed in their characters in a way in the original comic book sources. Right. The minute they switched gears to the new stuff was just like what happened in comics when they switched gears to the new stuff. Nobody liked it and they rejected it widely. And at the time, Marvel and even DC would revert back to the norm and bring the old characters back that people liked because the experiments didn't work. So this includes turning Falcon into Cap. You can't do that. First of all, he never had the super serum. He's
just some guy.
He had his own definition, right? I mean, Falcon was one of my favorite as a kid growing up. One of my favorite, Captain America and the Falcon. Those were my favorite comic book team ups, right? There's even back in the day, they used to take great comic stories and turned them into albums, believe it or not, like records, like vinyl.
Oh.
Right. And you had a follow along book if you wanted to follow the story, if we didn't have the comics already. So when you go back into that idea, Captain America the Falcon, that's one of my favorite things, because some of the books I had, some of them I had on record, there was just amazing stuff right there. And they literally, they literally had Cap and the Falcon as a team forever. You could have done movies about, or television shows about real Captain America and Falcon forever, right? That's why they're trying to bring in a new Falcon in this new film. I'm going to tell you right now, this film is so broken, and they reshot it so many times. They shot the film the first time, no bueno. So they reshot the film entirely the second time, no bueno. And then they went and they did a bunch of reshoots on top of that. Literally, they've shot the equivalent of 3 full films to make this one film. In fact, even they may have even done it more. But
so why do you when you say like no bueno, according to them, they were like, okay, this isn't going to work. Do you know specific?
Yeah, no. Okay, so okay, there's different types of screenings that happen, like pre-screenings, that happen, right? They call them test screenings. Like James Gunn has reportedly had a few of them, but those are friends and family and studio screenings. So it's just like a random group of people close to the production that see the film. And sometimes an executive will be sitting in there and go, "What the flip is this?" Well, that's what happened with the first version of this film.
Me too.
Yeah. And so when you start to hear that a film has had multiple test screenings and then they go back for reshoots, you don't have to read sign language here. You just have to take a look at the fact it did not go well. Anytime you hear multiple reshoots, not pickups. Pickups are normal in a production.
That's where they're adding stuff afterwards.
Yeah. Or just something that they missed, something that they need to reshoot because the lighting wasn't right, something that needs to be there for continuity's sake. I mean, it's just like that kind of stuff. Whereas like a reshoot's a whole other problem. Right. It's like multiple days. It can be week or two, much longer than like a pickup shot is. Pickups usually take place over like 6 to 9 days max. Right. This is an entirely other thing. So when you go through that many reshoots for as many days as they did, nothing was working. They pulled out entire characters. They put in new characters. That's how bad this film was.
And so that's on the background of they put out the Marvels. They put out Black Panther 2 wasn't that bad, but they should have recast T'Challa.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so yeah, that was a poor decision for sure, and they should have reshot several scenes in that, and like demeaning Namor and like his people and everything else, I felt was entirely wrong. Like, and like they cast them in the poorest possible light. And I'm thinking, I thought you guys were all like, racial checkbox time. Why are you demeaning these people? It doesn't matter. Regardless,
as long as they're on the screen, then we got our points. Our points.
Maybe so. But we got, okay, so we got in this conversation about Captain America for this reason. You will never make the money back. Recently, and this is how virtue signaling works, folks, and how you are lied to every single day. One of the 3 trade papers that Penske Media owns, because they own Deadline, Variety, and Hollywood Reporter. Those are your 3 trades. The only other one is The Wrap, and Sharon Waxman is probably the least credible person on the planet. And if she stepped farther left, she would be on the other side of Xi Jinping. So I'm just. Yeah, so this is where we get into it. So one of those publications from Penske Media Group, and yes, Penske, you know who they are, came out and said this film had a $180 million budget and didn't report anything else. Okay, well, a budget is far different than what production spend is. It's supposed to be what production spend is. You're supposed to stick to your budget, but Marvel doesn't do that. And so they just went out there and said, "Oh, this thing's going to be great. It didn't cost all that much money, yada yada." Their numbers are at 180 million. Right now, it's sitting at 425 million of spend. Whoa. They have not gotten. I mean, there might be a little bit of marketing in there, but not really. And we're about to see a marketing push. We're coming up on, guess what? The Super Bowl. Okay. I mean, and then this film releases on Valentine's Day. If it does not make,
I didn't realize it was that soon. It's always been so far in the future.
Yeah, well, they pushed it back.
Kept pushing it back and pushing it back.
Yeah,
So what if? So
Yeah.
then, with all these reshoots, and they knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to work, and for whatever reasons, so they try to reshoot. They try to reshoot. What do you think is, in terms of, like you said, they're not going to be able to make that money back, but they obviously want to recoup some of that money. Where would the decision be to either, because like they scrapped that Batgirl film, and then if you look at going back to the original Sonic movie, this is a much smaller scale, but they put the photos out and everybody's like, what the hell is that? And then they completely changed the whole movie. I'm wondering if putting out a quote unquote bad movie that does that, that even according to them might be what they need in order to be like, okay, all right, screw all of this woke stuff. Let's just go back and do exactly what we were doing. What brought you to the dance?
Okay, let's start from here. This film, if you use the multiplier 2.8 versus how much they spent on it, and right now the spend is, I'm just gonna say, it's actually, one of my friends actually says it's more, somebody who would know, but the spend is $425 million. You multiply that by 2.8, that gives you what they have to make to hit break even. Mm-hmm. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Break even is factoring in
paid for everything. Nobody takes home nothing.
The budget, the split that the theaters get, plus marketing. Okay, that's 2.8. It used to be less. It used to be about 2.5. Now it's 2.8. Might even be closer to 3 now because of how much Disney spends on this crap. But anyway, especially in marketing. Good Lord. But anyway, this thing needs to make 1.2 billion to hit break even.
Probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That's sad.
Yeah,
so,
Disney
maybe that'll be what they need to really see. Like we've tried this every little way.
Let me help you with that. You might have heard of this movie called Indiana Jones and the Diaper of Dysentery. I mean, whatever that was. It was a recent movie. It was Indiana Jones movie. Anyway, that film to date had been the most expensive Indiana Jones movie, but it was an entire waste of money. It got nowhere close to sniffing what the budget was in its box office performance. Or not the budgets are always lower than what the spend is. That's the other thing people don't get. But because so much of it was shot in the UK, we actually have access to what they spent, because anything in the UK is registered as a production, usually under a code name, and actually has that has to be reported legally in order for them to get their tax credits engaged. So we know how much that was, and so we ended up with that situation. Man, I'm talking a lot. I feel like
you got you're this is gold. This is gold, because again, I mean, as much as I love to think about this stuff, it's not always in the context of how it applies to the cultural politics and the business aspect of it. So it really it really is very very interesting. And I was going to ask you about what you think about the direction of the MCU. And I mean, I'm hoping that they can, it seems like everything to, at least to this point, to Dr. Doom, they have set up. And so there's no way, no matter what happens, there's no way that the next Avengers movies could ever measure up to what Infinity War and Endgame were. But I do see a possibility to start fresh after that.
And they're going to have to. There's a lot of reasons they'll have to
bring in the X-Men.
Yeah, and well, X-Men. Okay, you are not going to enjoy Fantastic Four. I'm not sure anybody is, but Thunderdolts might be passable. And I mean, they're you can't really do them the right way. What was that? I didn't get to read it.
Oh, apparently I'm stammering.
Oh, I do that. I do that.
It out. Thank you.
I do that too. It's fine. But I'll just say that when you look at Indiana Jones, for the reason we were looking at it, that film is so in the hole, it's not even funny. Do you realize how much Disney bought Lucasfilm for? It wasn't a lot.
I remember hearing, I wanted to say like 400. I have no idea.
No, 4 was the right start, right? It's 4.08 billion. That's how
Okay,
much.
that's what that was what I was
Right.
thinking, but I was like 400 billion is way too much. But
And-
4 billion doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, right? And that's what Lucas kind of said to them. You know, that's why he wrote up the treatments for the next 3 films and a whole lot of other things to make Star Wars more, or Lucasfilm specifically more marketable. Disney paid that money. For another reason, they wanted to pay slightly more, or Lucas wanted them to pay slightly more for Star Wars than they had for Marvel. That's the whole crux of that deal. So when you look at that, you're looking it up, I bet, which is good. but here's the other thing. Disney then went out of pocket in a big way to spend money on putting Star Wars films into production. They also spent money in a big way to build 2 theme park expansions, both in Florida and California, called Galaxy's Edge. So when you look at that in those terms, my friend, they are out of their pocket $6 billion.
Oof. That's
Okay.
a lot of cash. That's
The
a lot
first-
of cash.
The first film cost an extraordinary amount of money to make, and that for whatever reason, that first film's spend went up from the time we heard about the budget, which we took for
Granted.
that was it. Yeah. And it went up and up and up and up over time. So by the time you get to the second and third like film of the trilogy, and not even counting the other 2 films, you've been out of pocket like crazy. And you have never
And you've already
recovered.
made all these promises.
Exactly. And you have never even put a dent in that $4.8 billion that you originally spent, because you're into it now for multiple billions. You made money back, right? But again, nobody counts for the split. Nobody counts for the marketing. I mean, when you start to hear that, at its end, by the time we got to the last Star Wars film, those were costing near $1 billion a piece.
Whoa.
Enormous amounts of
Whoa.
And Disney has a tendency to lie about what their spend is. They just want you to believe that's the budget. The budget's the budget. No, it's not. That's not how much you spent. So this is where all these things come into play. And that's why, from my perspective, I step back and I look at it all. I say, that's bologna sausage. And when I look at Captain America, which is coming up on Valentine's Day, gosh, what a terrible day. First of all,
I'm single. So whatever you are, I'm single.
I'm just going to say, you are literally going to ruin a woman's day if you take her to see that film on Valentine's. Do not do that. Okay.
Definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah. The Captain America the ladies like is the other guy that they got rid of. So,
Arrow said, I can only think of Eddie Izzard, Lego Star Wars Canteen, and I saw the original on the big screen.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, speaking of budgets and such, I'm sure you've heard about the stuff with DeepSeek and NVIDIA.
Yeah. And there's a lot of lies embedded in all of that.
So let's take a little peek at this, and then I'd love to pick your brain. But really quick, let's shout out our boy Zippy, the SM Lee in the building, coming through with a Rumble rant. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. Hope you are feeling better, man. I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party. So that's why I'd rather watch Heart Eyes instead of Cry Cry Birdie. I don't know what either of those things are. But in case you don't know what happened, NVIDIA, I'm sure you guys know better than me, all you gamers and stuff, better than me, that NVIDIA is graphics cards and stuff like that, and their stock just tanked. And so let's get a little thing here about it, and then let's see what you got to say about it.
What do you make of this news about DeepSeek and the questions it raises about NVIDIA and the prospects for NVIDIA?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me today. Certainly always an exciting, different day when you wake up. You never know what the facts might be or what the reaction will be. I was told very early in my career, my job is trying to put the puzzle pieces together, and you think you do your job and you have a great thesis or story and earnings, and then you come in and there's a new piece that you haven't put together, or they were all mixed around. And so there's never an end to our job. We're focused on fundamentals, long-term horizons. And so I've been a shareholder since 2016 in NVIDIA. Apple, I was looking back 2004. And so these are sort of the timelines we try to invest across our portfolios for clients. And so, we had a period where the shares were performing exceptionally well. There's periods where they're going to underperform relative to expectations. So particularly on this news today, I think the question has been what the growth trajectory of the company will be in the future. That has been a question on every call in the last several quarters since there was a real breakout in early 23. You recall that $7 billion quarter to 11, something that people have never really seen before. And installed base,
so check out this.
People will upgrade. And so I think there's a lot of similarities here.
No, this is, in case you don't know a lot about stocks, like I also don't, this is not good. This is not good. And, basically what they were saying here was that the storage space needed for large language models is not at all what they thought it was going to be. So all these chips are going way down in price. Zippy, again. Oh, my goodness. Another Rumble rant said AI is going to downgrade the artificiality of scarcity and exclusivity Ponzi scheme in the market. The absurdity of non-private exclusive thoughts and information is a joke. Culture, any thoughts on that?
Yes.
Please.
No, I would just, the answer to that or statement is yes. I mean, first and foremost, you have to consider when it comes to NVIDIA or any of the processing that takes place when you're going through an LLM, you have to talk about the tokens per second. Even if there's a more efficient way to process through an LLM that maybe this MIT graduate and his new company have actually stumbled upon, I'm going to tell you right now, it took him 50,000 NVIDIA chips to make it happen.
That's and I'm sure they're super cheap, right?
No, they're not. But those, but that's basically DeepSeek's been lying to people around the globe because I'm not kidding. It's 50,000 H100s that they had to employ to get this thing going. So those are all NVIDIA. The H100s are all NVIDIA. So when I start to talk about that and you start to realize what just the performance of the H1QQ is, it's 10,000 tokens a second at basically 100 milliseconds of first token, which means it processes information very quickly. It's able to gurge out whatever it is you ask it to do from a prompt. But that particular chip is ridiculous, and we're not even in the H2s or any of the other stuff that's out there now. The fact that people are like flipping out over this, it's always going to need the processing power of a quality chip like that. So
when I first heard it, I was like, I don't know shit about the stock market, but doesn't that mean go buy NVIDIA right now?
It kind of does this is one of those opportunities to buy the dip because I think it's down at $129 a share. I mean, if you're investing, this is a serious look for me, is what I call those when I'm going, should I buy now? Because to me, the fact that it only fell 4% today gives us a ramp into an idea of what's happening in the market because it was a slower drop. Yeah. Meaning that it might. So we may have hit the bottom. So when you're looking at it like a trading like cycle and you're trying to buy something that's about to hit an upswing, what you want it not to do is something called a double shoulder, where the trade looks like a shoulder here, like a human body. Like I have two shoulders, like you have like a thing in a pop-up that's a shoulder up there at the top and then down and then back over. Yeah. So in fact, that's it right there. So that's the next fall, right? So so my thoughts are we're probably on the way up after a 4% drop. I don't believe you have the right analysis up there, but that's fine. Regardless, I'm just looking at the price per share. It's a reasonable purchase. I'm not giving you financial advice. It's just, this is one of those times I'm saying personally, I'd be looking at an opportunity to buy. Regardless, I'm just looking at the fact that you have, you literally have in your pocket the ability to run an LLM. That's why all these companies are now offering you AI. Right. Even Microsoft's dumbass Copilot, which I think is a complete waste, and you should probably turn off. Personally,
it just gave me a notification. It's like, do you want to restart now or restart tonight? I'm like, what?
I trust Microsoft. I trust Microsoft less than I trust the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, anything associated with Bill Gates,
Microsoft or well, I guess he's not really there anymore. But Bill Gates specifically.
You don't think he influences that company
Oh,
anymore?
that's not what I said. I just
Yeah,
said
okay.
he ain't right there anymore.
I'm just saying. But no, it's funny because I was thinking about this today. I'm like, I run an LLM on my laptop. Like I'm through Olama,
And,
right?
and
But
yeah,
and
LLM meaning large language model like
language model.
ChatGPT or one of these
Yeah,
things.
yeah. An LLM, but I can add to it through something called RAG, which reaches out to the internet, and actually I can call for updates for everything, right? In fact, if you want to use an up to date real time model software that you actually have access to, if you are a premium member over at X, Grok 2, which is just updated, is real time and it grabs stuff from the internet in real time. Right? It's not like it's a challenge. But if you're trying to build out, if you are trying to build out serious things that work in AI, you can do it from your home.
I mean, you can do it from your home. I don't know,
Yeah.
but a lot of people
You can.
But
No, you can. I mean, if you buy, actually, this is an interesting idea. If you buy the like an inexpensive, believe it or not, NVIDIA Nano, which is you can access and plugs into lots of hardware you use daily, and you load an LLM on there, and you don't have to have a whole lot of stuff. You can actually operate your own AI server in your house that's the size of a small paperback book.
Interesting. Sibby here says hardware always lags behind as competition pushes hardware evolutions. I'm more interested in how they game the market and use IP rights and lawfare to squash competition. Wasn't OpenAI open source to gain funding and market interest, and then proof no longer open source? So DeepSeek is copying from that. You think?
No, I agree. I mean, first and foremost, DeepSeek's free, which is the complaint that everybody's having right now. OpenAI has ChatGPT, which started to charge. It was never supposed to be a for-profit entity. That's why Elon Musk got engaged in it, hence the open source idea. And somehow they managed to turn it into a profit corporate. I don't think that's. I think there's a real problem with that. I think the government should be investigating that, not investing with OpenAI. I don't trust Sam. Sam is a scumbag. He makes Zuckerberg, the Sam Altman, the guy that's in charge of that. Of OpenAI, Altman. Yeah. I understand why the board kicked him off in the first place, and then he came back like a week and a half later. That's an interesting conversation we can get into a completely other time. But like, I can understand why Elon bailed. I can understand a whole lot of things. I do not understand why the U.S. government decided to get in bed with this douchebag. Also, don't understand why they got in bed with Larry Ellison. But what can I do? I mean, Oracle's pretty powerful. They have a lot of cloud power. As does Azure and AWS, but I can go on for this is a
since this seems to be an area at least that you know a lot better than me. Zippy and I have been going back and forth forever, and he has been talking about how we should abolish IP rights, and that shouldn't exist. And we haven't had a good opportunity to be able to really sit down and to hammer that out. So I'm wondering how just if I throw that at you, abolish IP rights. What does that say to you?
Well, I mean, for example, I'm going to tell you right now, Russia and China don't care about IP rights. They will steal your stuff and just run with it.
That's why I'm on TikTok. Like, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, and so when you look at that, that's true. So IP rights are out the window. What was the rest of that? I want to make sure I've got it all. How do they game the system through lawfare? The same way every other American corporation has done it for a long time.
The question that I didn't understand, and this seems pretty basic, but I just haven't been able to fully understand it. That if we don't have IP rights at all, if there's no such thing as intellectual property, then how do I, if I make a movie or if I make a stream, how does that become something that I'm financially incentivized to continue doing?
Exactly. And again, that's here in the United States and around the globe, IP rights are respected to a certain degree by whatever their local standards are. Here in the United States, we have something that a lot of other countries don't have, which is fair use. You can use a certain amount of this as long as it's transformative, educational, yada, 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 yada. But this question is broader than that. So when it comes to this, we've had monopolistic practices in this country for 4 or 5 generations now, because the weight and the strength of that dissipated after breaking up the bells, right? So if you remember, Bell was one giant company, and then it got broken up to a bunch. Bell, and so communications was allowed to develop and grow faster, and invited in competition. So what's happening now is a consolidation, which is terrible for us, very terrible for innovation, and really allows for even more and more monopolistic practices. So that's how they're going about it. That the lawfare element is to basically, if not outright steal, but to acquire somebody else's tech, because you're saying it's based on your tech or it's based on something else. So they're able to overpower another company because of money. You're also now seeing just straight out acquisition of any competition, and or acquire the next best competitor and fund them to the extreme.
Definitely, I mean, if you look at social media, that's definitely, we've definitely had a shrinking of how far it really reaches. And I mean, you could argue that Meta is, I mean, if it weren't for TikTok and X, that Meta would be a complete monopoly.
Well, I mean, we're kind of already there. You have to consider this. Right now, there are 5 major studios. I'm just going to talk from the entertainment side because it's simpler. Right now, there's only 5 major studios. They actually own a lot of smaller studios. If you see something like A24, there's other people's money in that. If you see something like Neon, that's somebody else's money. Focus Features, somebody else's money. I mean, you start to see all these other studios that are in there. But Zippy, I'm going to respond to you directly and say fair use is not dead. It's just gut punched by YouTube because of how they structure the way their claim system works. Because nobody wants to fight 10,000 individual lawsuits for fair use, because they'll lose 99% of them, and then they will further weaken their position. DMCA absolutely killed it. There's no doubt about it, but only because YouTube and other platforms allow for them to run roughshod over your fair use. And you know what? The courts come back again and again, but the problem is that as a small creator, or even as a decent sized one, even if you're Mr. Beast, that's an incredibly expensive fight, and you're going to have to take it all the way to the Supreme Court. So, this is something that the court could take on without the $1 million retainer. That's not the right term, but there's a lot of money to be spent on these types of issues to look at. And you have to get a good quality attorney like Ron Coleman or somebody else like that who's argued in front of the Supreme Court before to kind of walk you through this process. So until somebody does that enough times to embarrass, corporations that abuse it, here's where we are. And here's the weird thing. It's not even the corporations that are abusing it directly. Some of their third parties abuse you for it when it's well within fair use.
I try to cover those Jubilee, the Jubilee 1 on 25 or whatever, and they're always copyright claiming it, and then I'll appeal it. And then it gets to the point where, I mean, I don't make
30 days
money.
later.
Yeah, I don't get that much ad money anyway. So if it gets to the point where it's like, well, you could get a strike, it's like, I know this is fair use, but that's not fair.
And that's the thing, right? Is that it costs you as a creator in fair use, if you take it to the limit. And here's the thing: YouTube is not for the creators, not at all. They have they're only interested in advertising revenue.
Yeah, the U is not us. Really quick, let's shout out our boy Carl's Frosted Chips. Welcome to the party. Says peanut butter jelly time. No condoms for Gaza. Did you hear about that?
$50 million for condoms? Oh, dude, what is it? What is the Gaza's like full of Ron Jeremy's out there? What's happening right now?
Yep.
That dates me because I don't know if any of you know who Ron Jeremy is. But
I mean, I do, but no, actually, but I'm pretty young in terms of the audience here. I think most people here are a good 5 to 10 years older, and I'm 35. So, I think people will know. Thank you again, Carl. We had a good question here from Michael. Said, why are the monopoly laws we have not enforced in this day and age?
Okay. We can officially start out at the Clinton administration and move forward from there. There were a lot of mergers and acquisitions that could have been halted at the time. And they didn't do it. In fact, they kind of warned the people that were in a position to stop it to not stop it. This is when we started to begin the real entrenchment of the I'm going to say deep state, but that's not technically what it is. It's the administrative state. It was at that point in time. So when you start to look at that, that really was a ball that got rolling under Jimmy Carter. He took a lot of bad ideas and bad information, and he was invested and involved in people with a lot of very red ideas. And when I say that, he did a lot of things that really weakened our country, and not just as foreign interest and
good riddance.
Yeah. I mean, he was a terrible person. He created a lot of departments that have done nothing but, destroy America and freedom and liberty. And it allowed people to be emboldened by regulations that never should have been out there in the first place, according to the Supreme Court just last year. So as we start to look into these things, we realize that was kind of the point at which we kind of lost control of all of this. After the last big blow, the big nut punch that got handed to Ma Bell, and the dividing them up into the baby bells and creating an opportunity for competition, especially in long distance markets, et cetera, et cetera. You got a lot of things out of that. You also got the rapid advancement of the internet a decade later, or a decade and a half later, because you ended up with a situation where you had a lot of different not telecoms get into the telecom business and take advantage of those opportunities. And here's the weirdest thing, and a conversation that nobody has often enough. Back in the 90s, when I was working in IT, and not the IT that we have now, which is just a bunch of support people, the actual development of internet technology and the advancement of it way back in the day. We already had fiber. We already had we had giant communication rings installed in major metropolitan areas and stuff like that. We just the fact that everything was kind of everybody's trying to beat each other out for the best technology kind of delayed the advancement of that, including fiber optics. We could have all been fiber optically connected 2 decades ago.
That makes sense. I could definitely see how there's an incentive to keep that control and not necessarily push the technology as far as it actually can go. I'm not going to say why would the following administration not just enforce the laws then? I would have to guess that it's because there's, when we talk about the managerial class, the deep state, whatever you want to say, there's enough people. Yeah, there's enough people who are benefiting from it on either side, and that to zoom out, that's a big symbol as to why the Republican Party has never been super behind Trump. They know that that's the winning ticket, but there's especially in the first term, there was a lot of pushback.
Well, it comes down to graft in one form or another. And people are going to say, nobody's getting bribes. Well, they are, just not the way you think about it. I mean, how did Nancy Pelosi get so wealthy? How did her husband get so wealthy? Well, because he was signing contracts for mail trucks and things like that, that were supposed to be delivered for the Postal Service. We can get into all these different backroom deals, but you do not get wealthy because you're honest, at least not in Congress, because you're only making 200 and change a year. So if you're telling me, every president's yes,
I was going to be like, honey, sweetie baby, since way before Clinton. I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but
peanut farmer Jimmy Carter bought off like crazy. Right. I mean, I think the last honest person to actually go into office might have been Ronald Reagan. And I say go into office very specifically. Right. He was a governor of California. He took 2 swings at trying to get in to be the president, took him his second swing, and God was all in on that. You saw a landslide victory, a red wave, so to speak. But I'm going to tell you, Reagan had it easy because all he had to do is say, hey, you see those hostages over there? Yeah, I'm going to get him back before I even become president. And he did.
And
which is the
just
same thing
like
Trump just did.
Yep, just like Trump, dilly to Trump.
No, but I'll tell you this: Trump is protecting his interests going into office. But what's great about him is, all that money. And this is the thing most people don't know. Going in to serve as president, you put all your stuff into a blind trust. So you any influence that you would have while you're president is impossible.
Yeah.
So
and Holly, you're absolutely right here.
Yeah, Holly,
at least 90% of politicians are
Holly
totally corrupt, and the other 10% are only a little bit corrupt. And then there might be one guy out there who's like playing it straight, but that's just the name of the game.
Right. Well, the conversation around the 10% that are a little bit corrupt, are this those paying off the people who donated to them and got them where they are? People are always looking for a favor after they help you out. I get it. So, congratulations, thank you kind of situation. It's not unexpected, but it's the complete corruption. That's an entirely different conversation. Look, if you just follow and copy Nancy Pelosi, you're probably a multimillionaire right now.
I wonder why more people don't do that. And again, this may be coming from ignorance about how public stuff like that is, but as far as I understand, because I flirted with crypto a little while back, and then I didn't really have a plan, and I've been kind of just waiting, and then the stock market I never got there. And so we have the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. Why don't people just do all the same stuff that she does?
Well, I mean,
all the same trades.
First of all, I don't like her, but second, it's a good question.
Hey, you ain't gonna like her to make money, right?
Well, yeah, and again, you could totally do it. You could instruct, whoever does your trading for you to take care of it if you utilize that, or if you trade yourself, you are a brave person. But I often listen to professionals as well. I didn't used to. But Michael W asked me a question. I see there's no third option. Well, that's the problem, right? I mean, that's how you get monopolies.
Yep.
That's how you get two political parties. You make it impossible for there to be competition, which is why, I think that some of the stumbling blocks for the Democrats was the fact that they are not the big tent anymore. We talked about this on Mikey's show the other night, right? Remember? The big tent is MAGA. It's not even the Republicans. Republicans are freaking rhinos.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if anything, if you've watched any of these candidates go up in front of Congress recently, including RFK today, my God, those people are idiots. Holy crap. But anyway, they were asking the dumbest questions ever. I'm like, you realize that the average, gardener is going to be able to tell you, that you're an idiot. So it was just crazy. And I'm not disparaging gardeners. I'm just saying it's one of those, it's just one of those weird things. It's like, gosh, you guys are so embittered that you got beat like redheaded stepchildren. Seriously. That you are going to make fools of yourself on national television that, by the way, anybody can access through C-SPAN. In fact, that's going to be I'm going to go mining C-SPAN for material, like maybe a week after I get back from Florida. Because there's a ton of it there. But yeah.
Well, shout out to Mike Harlow. You guys will definitely have fun on that one.
Yeah.
What did I miss from Dietrich here? Said holding back technology for the purpose of stretching the dollar for the bottom line. Wow, that's fucked up. Imagine if they did that with something like cancer. What am I saying? That's ridiculous, right? They would never do anything like that.
Of course they would. This is something I realized back in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s. It's like there's a lot of money in treatment. This is more important to keep something chronic to get out more and more money than it is to solve the problem when you'll only get a limited amount of money. So why is there no cure for cancer? Because
there's too much money in the treatments.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can ask switching gears a little bit. You could kind of ask the same kind of questions about what's been going on at the border and how all of this has just gotten way out of control. And even the people who are more open to opening the doors, letting people in, all that stuff. Everybody's like, maybe that is too much. So, all right, I think we missed YouTube censor and Michael. All right, what are we saying here? If I believe what you're saying, then I would also have to believe that the only recourse is violent revolution.
Not
Yeah.
even violent, but I'll say that it's already starting to happen. Look, if you take this, we got here. Oh boy. Okay. Here, the diatribe coming. We got here because of incrementalism. Nobody recognizes that. It's the concept
Death by
of the
1,000 cuts.
Yeah, it's the pot with the frog, right? And you put the frog in the pot, he's fine. You slowly turn up the temperature till it gets to boiling. He didn't realize he got into a boiling pot because it wasn't boiling at the time.
Right.
Incrementalism is how that works. That's how you if you have a long-term ability like the Chinese, that's how you conquer civilizations, right? Other societies.
Yeah.
We've been being conquered by incrementalism. It's one of the other ways, like, oh wait, it's a different argument for the slippery slope, right? Well, love is love. Okay. Why can't these people marry each other? They love each other. Okay. So far, nobody's going to object to that. And you keep moving that, right? Because that's a subtle push of the Overton window in a given area. And then you get to the point where everybody warned you this was the end goal. And then you get there 30 years later. And you're like, wait a minute, you're trying to legitimize the P word? Well, of course, that was the goal the whole time.
I've definitely, so I do agree that obviously all of that LGBT stuff is a slippery slope. I do think that once we made marriage a legal thing, then there's no legal justification to keep it away.
The government never should have been involved in marriage at all. Okay.
Agree.
This is a different conversation, right? Because it will shift gears for a moment. But when it comes to that, it's like the government didn't need to be in your bedroom. They didn't need to be involved in your lives in any way. The government's there for one reason and one reason only. They are not supposed to be taking money from you. All they're supposed to be doing, the only thing they're chartered to do is ensuring your rights civilly and making sure that the water goes on and off and it's clean, making sure that the food that you eat is clean. They haven't done that for a long freaking time, and protect your borders. That's it. There's nothing else out there. They are to protect your well-being. They have a list of 4 things they're supposed to do in total, if you think about it that way. So
completely agree. Let's go. Another Rumble rant out sponsoring yo goddamn self. Zippy DSMLE said, wouldn't it be expediency more than incrementalism, or is that the same line of reasoning?
You're actually in the same line of reasoning, which is awesome. You were actually using the words. I would say that now you're using larger increments more expediently. Those are called executive orders, and we just watched a buttload of them happen. We also watched one that took care of about 35, 36, 38 of the other ones that were put in place to screw you. I
want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
The notion of now we're in a place where already executive orders have been very heavily used in such a way that fighting fire with fire and all that good stuff. But the fact of the matter is that with all these executive orders, the cultural swing between presidents can be so drastic because it's just like, okay, this is my house now. Okay. And the wheels of government, the wheels of justice were meant to go slowly.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this. So EOs are supposed to be in place and used rarely to selectively move things forward that are already going to be addressed in a legislative session or two. That's kind of the idea, right? Mm-hmm. They're also there now, unfortunately, I say the word now, to remove other bad decisions made by previous administrations. EOs, I've always wanted to be lightly used. The United States is not supposed to have a king. And this is something I saw in the chat, but we'll get into that in a moment. But unfortunately, operational fiat has already taken place in advance. So
operational fiat.
The lawmaking from the executive position rather than from the legislative position. This is why government was divided into three pieces, right? A judicial branch, an executive branch, and a congressional branch, or legislative body, whatever you want to call it. Unlike the parliamentary systems, which are completely corrupted now, you can see that around the Western world, socially everywhere, from Canada to the UK at this point. You have a structure to government that has checks and balances. Parliamentary systems don't seem to, if we're watching observationally, especially the UK at the moment. So when you're looking at it, Lutch, I think that what Trump did primarily with his EOs is reverse policy decisions that were made from a fiat position with the Green New Deal and all this other stuff. The executive branch is also responsible for the administration and or creation or removal of treaties through a significant different series of processes. We had a lot of things put in place by executive decision, directives. There's a lot of different things. EOs are often confused with directives and things like that. But when you look at how we ended up in the WHO, garbage. They first of all, you cannot surrender the sovereignty. You cannot surrender the sovereignty of this country without the will of the people. Same thing goes with, any of these other global organizations we got ourselves involved in. And right now, the president can pull the strings on the UN, which I hope he does. And like I said, here's another interesting thing: NATO doesn't need to exist. But if you're a foreign nation, what's the last thing you want to leave your country? A U.S. military base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because there's skin in the game.
Safety, and especially when we got the Democrats just throwing money all over the place. We got another good question here from Michael, but first, I didn't see the very first super chat from Holly. Goes to me. Thank you so very, very much. Let's give him an extra. And of course, guys, don't forget about the swole goal. It's not actually a swole goal, but if you look at the top of the chat, you can see that goal. And tonight it is for the Overlord. If we get 7 more $2 or up, then Morty gets his peanut butter. So let's make it happen. We're 3. We're 3 there. And 4 more, and we're out of the door. Thank you again, Holly. Very much appreciated. Michael, go ahead.
No, this is a great question. In what way is our system of government not irrevocably broken? I almost can't describe any. I think that actually, believe it or not, it's true, but I believe you're getting your government back to the position that it's in right now. Judicial review has not been taking place as it should. You're seeing corruption in that way. You're seeing the administrative circumstance being completely undermined. So the fact that we're looking to eliminate employees will be very helpful. Right. The fact that we got rid of commissioners who were incredibly ideologically driven, probably a good thing. We watched people walk out the door because they didn't politically align with the current regime.
Yeah.
So
So Michael's saying, so revolution is needed then.
We're doing
depending on what you are talking about with revolution. So a revolution doesn't have to be an armed takeover of something. I would argue that the mandate of Trump getting back in office after losing and making all these big promises, that in its own way is kind of a revolution, but your other question about why fight for the status quo is because, again, the way that incrementalism works in a bad way, it can also work in a good way, that we can slowly inch back. And that's where, you can get blackpilled and be like, oh, we're fucked. It's over. Doesn't matter. And honestly, maybe we are, but we are definitely fucked if everybody just throws their hands up and has nothing to say.
And here's the problem. There's an issue with law, in that if people stop following the laws, they're law anyway. Constitutional law hasn't been followed for a very long time. The fact that we're getting back to it is kind of handy. We already had the Democrats try to violate the idea of posse comitatus, which was actually the posse comitatus Act was a long time ago, established by Rutherford B. Hayes in 1878, which made it so that the military could not rise up directly against the citizenry. That meant because the founding fathers already foresaw the idea of having to come back in a revolution of some sort, that the military could not rise against them. The problem is, once you're at that point, who's going to follow the law anyway? So, which is why the multiple threats made by the Biden administration and by him personally against his own citizens is like, we have F-18s or whatever the frick he said, was a direct threat against the citizenry of the United States. He should have immediately been removed from office, impeached, and then charged with treason.
That was so wild. But again, that level of control of the establishment and how the media can just be like, oh, well, he was just making a point about whatever it is, that can be reversed. And exactly as Zippy is saying here with yet another Rumble rant, out sponsoring himself once again. Said my train of thought was the incremental thing was made out of expediency to be fixed later, but it's never fixed. So you wind up doing more expedient things to rush. It's the only way things are done. And that's kind of where I was coming from in terms of the general use of the executive orders and how that gets us into a pattern. But I think the solution to that is to be the ones to understand that that's where we are, and that just signing executive orders in and of itself is not necessarily a thing, potentially a bad thing at that degree. But we want to reverse all of the bad executive orders and then set a culture of, okay, we're back to a better, at least, status quo. Let's go and make things better the right way.
Well, okay, so look, I'm going to say right now, EOs are a way of doing those things, and they've been done. We've done a lot of things expediently. I'm sorry, how many days are we into this current administration? Let me count.
9.
9.
9.
We're 9 days in. We're pushing back on DEI. We are enforcing the border. We're pushing people out of this country. You do not belong here. Yes, but see, my version of incrementally is giant chunks. Right, I'm not
right, because that's a great point. So I'm saying I think that you don't really believe the system is as broken as you say if you think we can incrementally fix it. And so I believe it's as broken as I say. Maybe it's not as broken as you think what I'm saying. But the notion that we did just means that things like I was saying before, things can move. So I'm not black-pilled and saying that it's broken beyond anything. It's just not in a good place at all. What do you think, Culture?
No, I can't disagree with what you said, but I'm looking at a bigger, broader picture. Again, this is one of my problems. Is I'll always step back and look at what's happening.
Hey, that's what we need. We always need the big picture.
So, I when I step back and I look at it, I'm like, okay, this has all been very planned out. This is a sophisticated move forward across the board. Tom Homan is showing results. They throw a roadblock in front of them. The roadblocks have already been thought about. It's not like this plan didn't understand what was going to happen next, because it's not like there's a lot of creative thinking on the left-hand side of the equation, right? They used to be some of the best creators on the planet. Now they're so blinded by ideology, they don't see unique opportunities to venture off in a different direction or approach things from a more unique way. They run
dogma.
They run a playbook. Thank you, Saul Alinsky and others, right? They look at just like this thing in a way. It's not working anymore. First of all, everybody knows the playbook. You just go out and grab it. You get read the thing, understand what's going to happen. So there's that. But and you're right, law should be founded in originalism, else it's treason. But it should also be basically driven off the Constitution. The Constitution is the most like the most driven piece of governmental architecture based upon rights and the concepts of private property ownership and everything else that actually drives liberty and individual opportunity. Because how do you build wealth without something like that? How do you build a country without something like that? And what Trump has pointed out most recently that I could not agree with more, and something I'd been arguing for a very long time, is they absolutely have to focus on individual rights and liberty. That's all there is to it. You have to have property ownership, and you have to eliminate the income tax.
Yep.
That's what it is.
I'm waiting for that one, baby. I'm waiting for that one.
There is no reason in an industrialized nation that provides goods and services around the world that the citizenry should be paying individual personal income taxes.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, that is it. It really, I mean, I've always, thought taxation is theft and da. But when you put it like that, it really is egregious. It really is egregious. And yeah, Holly's saying here, I think things can be changed and or fixed, but it will definitely not be overnight.
So let me add one last thing to that, and then I'll shut up for a while because I'm crushing you as far as verbal conversation. I'll just say this.
You're the guest.
No.
That's
I'll just
what we
say
want you here, boy.
She's right. This is a long-term fight. Again, this is why I agree with Zippy. I don't think Zippy believes I agree with him, but I'm sorry, but this is a 20-year fight. This is a 30-year fight. You cannot stop. We need, after President Trump's term, we need J.D. Vance. After Vance, we need somebody else with that same brilliant mind. Do you understand why Vance is there? It's not because he's a billionaire, it's because he's a genius. Yep. We need the best minds with the best ideas. This is why you cannot censor speech. Absolutely. Because you need to listen to the brilliant people. Okay.
That's where we went awry, because brilliant at some point over the last 20, 30 years meant has no, letters after your name or has degrees. And that is not necessarily the truth at all. And sometimes can be the complete opposite. Let's shout out our boy, Funk Master General. Welcome to the party. That's 4 guys, 6 more, and Morty gets his peanut butter. Thank you so very, very much. And Holly was saying things won't necessarily be done overnight, but I don't know if you guys have seen what Dr. Phil was doing. Oh my goodness. Come on, brother. He said, sponsor, that's me. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Say, crush away, Casino Man. It is good to see you here. That's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Let's pull this out. Get our boy some num-nums. Thank you. Halfway there. Oh, and Zippy coming through again. Here, let me give him this on the Rumble rant. Oh, he's loving you guys. Zippy said, I tried some rabbit hole theory on dealing with property taxes. It's all a game of load balancing processes. Agreed. And I think, that is very, what Dr. Phil has been doing with Tom Homan. And I think I want to cover their podcast together. But have you, Culture, have you seen the most recent stuff here?
Yeah. What's funny is what got me into this was Asmongold, believe it or not. So but I knew it was happening. I mean, Dr. Phil actually had announced that one of the trade articles that I covered in the 6 Minute Daily a few days ago, that he was going to be embedded with ICE. And I'm like, this is really crazy. I've never heard of this type of stuff, but we embed people with military all the time, especially journalists. I'm like, well, why not Dr. Phil? And why not on a very human oriented thing? The guy understands, he deals with humans, right? All the time. He asked a question of like, I was watching like several moments of one of the times he was interacting with one of these people who are, and by the way, I am not going to say undocumented. If you want me to do that, you can, go slurp my butt. Okay. It's an illegal immigrant.
Criminal aliens.
Yeah. Well, okay.
And I'm a first generation American. So my parents fought to
get here.
To come here. Yeah. And I am so blessed with the fact that I am here.
Yeah, and look,
any of the other stuff. And so, like, especially, first generation immigrants, and I'll say their children, see,
they get pissed.
What it is,
they get pissed. Yeah, everybody who's a first generation American whose parents had to actually go through the process and they did it all the right way. You get here, you are 100% deserving of everything that you've done. You fought your way to become a citizen of the United States. You pledged an oath to this country. Your bloodline is going to be founded here. You're saying, I want to be here. I want generations of myself and my family to be here. Okay. That's a huge commitment, especially if you came from another place. Your culture is completely different. It's, my forefathers, I hate to say it that way, but my ancestors, when they came here, all 7,000 of them, because I am not at all what I look like. I am a smorgasbord of genetics. It's true. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, there's some, black in here. Okay. There's some American Indian in here. Okay. This is a crazy batch of 57 Heinz 57 sauce, but regardless, right?
Dr. Pepper and it's 23.
All I have to tell you is, yeah, it's crazy. But I'll just tell you that it's just like, it was a battle to get here into the States. And the fact that nobody else is doing that. And the people that were coming over, they shut down a phone text system app that would allow you to bypass the bologna sausage. And it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Regardless, there are some great conversations in the chat. These are subjects I want to talk about, but we're obviously burning into something else. I just want to say property rights, property taxes, those conversations is the same reason why Social Security recipients should not be paying tax on the money they already put into a system that got gutted. I can't even count how many times, because they did not. Al Gore, that trucking piece of garbage from 1,000 years ago, we're going to put it in a lockbox. You know what? There's no freaking lockbox. You guys raised the crap out of that.
Yep.
And you destroyed what that money could be. You could just put it in a CD, put it in a general market, put it in a general market fund. You would have done way better for the recipients than you did as a piece of garbage. Right. And you know what? You're right, Michael W. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. We'll set that aside. But had they just invested that in any freaking, they invested in
S&P, just in
energy. If you invested it in the energy, nobody would ever worry about it. That's the thing. Taxes on that is garbage. That's money that people counted on down in the future. You created this bologna sausage neo-Marxist safety net. Thank you. And that's where we are. Anyway, sorry. But you should not charge people taxes on their land. They bought it.
Dilly to that, sir.
It's the weakest thing. First of all, property taxes covers things, right? If municipalities operated their own water systems, if they operated their own electrical delivery systems, and they operated their own gas delivery systems, natural gas, right? That's where the taxes would be coming from, not from the actual ownership of the house.
Let's get away that tree. Thank you again, Funk Master. Very, very, very much appreciated. So let's take a look at some of what Dr. Phil has been doing.
Yes. Sorry, I keep going off on a tangent.
No, you're good. You're good. It's a party. It's a party, man. That's what we're here for. Drink a little bit, get a little angry, get a little off topic.
I've had enough of these people. I'm angry.
I even have my own side quest thing for when I'm like, okay, we're going on a tangent. So do not worry. Before we dive into that, Holly, again. Oh my goodness, you guys are blessing me.
Woo!
Look at that, 3 more. And it's peanut butter time. Thank you. So
do I have to do the stomp? Woo!
Woo!
Wrestling move for you. Okay, sorry.
Here we go. All right, let's see what we got here. Thank you again, Holly. No question, no comment, just pure love of the overlord.
Joining us now is Dr. Phil McGraw.
Of course, if you can't hear the video, please do let me know.
Author and TV host of Merit TV and host of Dr. Phil Primetime on Merit TV. Dr. Phil, honor to have you. Thank you for joining the program.
Good morning, Charlie. Good to talk to you.
So, Dr. Phil, you went viral recently on a clip where you went to Chicago with Tom Homan during what is now the famous ICE immigration raids. What did you learn on the ground in Chicago?
Well, I'm glad you asked it just that way, because I learned that what the legacy media is putting out is a bunch of fear mongering, because they're talking about sweeps through neighborhoods, indiscriminately picking up anybody with a tan is kind of what they're implying, that they're going into businesses, sweeping through there, going to schools, that sort of thing. And nothing could be further from the truth. What I saw was a multi-agency operation where people were coming together, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, ICE, FBI, and they were making coordinated efforts after doing a lot of research to take the worst first. They were focusing on violent criminals that are in our communities today and taking them out of our communities. And I don't know how anybody could object to that. I don't know how anybody could not want those people. I was hoping Tom Homan would take one of them and go down to the town square or the mayor's front yard and say, here, I got him. You want me to turn him loose? Here he is. What is the problem with this?
That would have been based. That would have been amazing. What is good? That's like some Game of Thrones, like just having his head on a spike. What do you want? Do you really want this? I mean, not the head on the spike part, but yeah. What do you think of the brazen? So actually, let's just go to I think it's right here, right? Where they actually we'll come back to 221 where they have this clip where the guy's just like, oh, I'm just chilling.
It was in the country illegally and had committed violent crimes against children. All it takes is one agent walking in an hour and taking him from their custody to ICE custody and deporting him out of the country.
Right here.
Dr. Phil, we have you for another segment here. I just want to emphasize the point that you're making, and then we will play on in Chicago.
So we'll go back to that. I just want to play the actual thing.
What's your name?
Seda what? You have a first and last name.
This is amazing, by the way.
Yes.
Incredible.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
What have you been charged with?
About to now, bruh.
Charged where?
Before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about a lawyer.
You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Bingo. Not really.
Well, this is an example of
really.
sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. And he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with.
Insane. So just on that, the brazen, like, why are you giving me shit? Why are you giving me shit? Like, all I did is come illegally into your country and commit sex crimes on children. Like, what's the big deal? Says that guy. Don't clip that out. You're muted. I don't know. Nope.
Okay, I found it.
Oh, there we go.
I lost the window. I was listening. No, because I watched that clip earlier today, and I'm like, this is a real problem.
Oh yeah.
And I think that kind of gets to the heart of the issue. When you look at the fact that the vast majority of the people that they've gone after in this first round of things, we're not even like anywhere close to even the beginning of the first round of what's happening. These are all criminal illegals. They've all been well researched. If you listen further on into what Homan says, they actually tracked all these people. They knew where they were in advance of like any of this. They tracked them down. They violated the law multiple times, and beyond obviously being here illegally. So they're gonna go back. I mean, and here's the thing, because this is a broader point. If the country doesn't want them back, do you know what's going to happen to them? Because we just watched what happened with Colombia.
If they, what's going to happen if they don't?
If the other countries don't take back these pieces of garbage that are here, the criminal, first of all, if you're here illegally, you're already criminal. But we're talking about like actually multiple criminal violations even here in the States. Do you know what? Colombia tried to turn back
That was flip-flop before I even heard about the story. So, if they didn't, if they were like, no, we're fine, we'll pay your tariffs. We're not taking those people. What, I mean, will we have these camps?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Pinochet had the right idea.
Yeah, totally.
Nobody knows who that is.
They probably do. They probably do, but please educate me.
Pinochet wasn't a huge fan of communists in his country. You've heard of the actor Pedro Pascal, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Two of the people that were on the top get list for Pinochet were his parents before they escaped here to the United States to pollute us with his presence and his now trans whatever. So sister, brother, whatever. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, but Pinochet was like a kind of an interesting kind of a ruler. I'm going to say ruler. You can call him whatever you want. But when he took over the country that he took over, he would often take the communists up for helicopter rides. And so one of the greatest commentators in my chat and over on Comics Division, other places I'm at, is Pinochet's helicopter tours. That's one of the commentators out there.
What exactly was this supposed to do?
So they may have taken off in a helicopter.
All right, that part went over my head a little bit.
Yeah, so Augusto Pinochet definitely he had a coup. And he took over Chile. It's a long time ago, 1973. It was actually just after or a few years after I was born. But what I loved about the idea of Pinochet is he gave his enemies no quarter. He just basically.
But obviously, we're not gonna. I mean, we're not gonna.
No.
So where do they end up?
I don't know. But if you've done things to kids, if you've done things to people who are not willing to have them done to them, thank you. You've crossed a barrier I'm very uncomfortable with.
Yep.
So
agreed.
And there's not a lot of tolerance in me for that.
King Nirvana. I was saying maybe we'll make a new penal colony. We'll just take apart Wyoming or something and block it off,
you know what? We put it really close to like Toronto.
Yeah, colder the better.
Yeah. We're it's just I'm one of those people. I'm looking at Canada. I'm going, are you really going to try to push back on tariffs? Because it's not going to end well for you.
Well, but the prices are going to go up. Culture, don't you know the prices?
Oh, dude, the egg
prices
thing
are going to go up.
The egg thing pissed me off. I'm like, eggs haven't gone down in price because you killed 100 million chickens because of this supposed bird flu crap. You're so transparent, you super lefty TARDIS. Oh my god.
No, I think King is right. I think King Nirvana is right. We don't fully understand because we're severed employees. Are you watching Severance?
What? No,
the show Severance.
I haven't had a chance to watch it. Wait, did season 2 come out?
Yeah, season 2 came out. 2 episodes so far.
Okay, all right. Then no. Don't. Okay, so this is a rule for me.
So you saw the first season then?
Okay, yes. So what I will say is
we won't spoil anything. No spoilers for season 2.
No, because I will binge it. Okay, because I have such limited time. You guys don't know, but I work like 17, 18 hours a day.
Yeah, before we cut on, he's like, "Oh, I do this show, and then I got that show, and I got that show, and I got damn, bro."
Yeah. Well,
that's all I'm doing today.
Like, okay, so Tuesday and Thursday, I stream for about 11 hours each day. Okay, that's just streaming, not considering content manufacturer, which I make videos. I try to get a video out every day. Mm-hmm. So, not to mention the fact that I'm producing for Mr. H for his Mr. H review shows twice a week. Plus, I run another channel called that Game Place because somebody asked if I was a gamer. Yes, I am. Yeah. Actually, here's the weird thing. I haven't told a lot. Nah, I was involved in gaming in a young age. I have a very crazy, unique story. I've never had anybody actually interview me beginning to end because it would be like a 12-hour show. But like I said, I love video gaming, but that's why I have this game channel. It's called that Game Place. I do it with that Park Place. I'm the gaming side of that Park Place crowd. So yeah, occasionally I write articles for that park place. This is the other thing. So like I'm not working. I retired from my company, my business. I retired from my business so that I could do this. This is way more work than what I did.
Right. That's where I'm at. It's like, because I'm a dog trainer, so that's my day job, and it's a little slow right now. But in general, I have that, and the goal was to be able to build up the channel and quit my job. And I thought, that'll take like a year or maybe 6 months, because I'm great. And 3 years later, and still working. But it really shows you, it makes you reckon with, do you really want to do this? Do you want to do this? And because it is, I'm not gonna. I don't know your experiences outside of of working here, but at least for me, it is way easier to just wake up, look at my calendar, be like, okay, I got to see Bruno, Scotty, and Lucy, and then I come home and I'm done. And but this is so much more rewarding, because I feel like something is actually happening.
My previous industry was so much easier. I'm going to just say that. So, but this is a passion. There isn't a day that I wake up that I don't want to do what I love doing. This is what I love doing. If you can ever find that, you'll understand what I'm saying. Right. This is something I was born by. Yeah. This is something I was born to do, is to talk about these things. And the other thing I will tell everybody here is I read all the time. There is not a moment like I'm in the bathroom, I'm reading. Or whatever, right?
I'm on TikTok when I'm in the bathroom.
I'm just saying, it's one of those weird things, right? And I love what I do, and I love to know things. Knowledge is the key to power. Knowledge, information is the ultimate pathway forward. And being able to take and digest information and put it into a different form is even more valuable. It's how you get new inventions. It's how you get new ideas. It's how you get taking simple AI and turning into AI agents that actually create an ability
destroy the NVIDIA stock.
I don't know. That's not what's happening. But I look, you guys are all my people. So
thank you.
Yeah,
Funkmaster General here is asking, what business were you in?
Don't really talk very much about that, but I helped meet people. Well, no, it's just because the boss, who's basically, still successful in said industry, it would be very identifiable. And it's the last bit of like things that I keep a little bit private. But I will tell you this, I helped people. I made people a lot of money.
Baller. Is this is did you say this was the that park place? That was your channel?
Oh yeah, no, I'm part of. It's not my channel. It's I'm at That Game Place, but That Park Place is obviously me, Jonas J. Campbell, and many other people that participate in that, including Marvin the Movie Monster, who writes for That Park Place. I write for That Park Place, but I'm on that channel regularly. I'm on WDW Pro's channel.
Nice.
I'm on with. Gosh,
looks like a pimp. Oh, okay.
No. Actual legitimate business. Like lots and lots of money.
I mean, the lefties would argue that that is legitimate business. Just kidding. So I was asking if you have read Brandon Sanderson. I'm not familiar with Brandon Sanderson.
I need a primary title, and I'll answer the question.
Fair enough.
Because like I've read everything. Okay, so to my left is a 14-foot by 14-foot by 14-foot high bookshelf, because this room was supposed to be the library. This holds approximately 1/10 of the books between the boss and I. She and I are reading like crazy. But when I'm the things I'm reading now obviously are related to what I do here. So I read, and I've always read a lot of business stuff and things like that. But I mean, over to my left, I mean, I've got fantasy, J.R.R. Tolkien. I've got Asimov. I've got the Three Body Problem over there. I've got Tarot.
That was on Netflix, right? Yeah. I want to be more of a reader, but right. I just need to get into, like, I can do audiobooks much easier.
Oh, hang on. This is the best book here. Hang on a minute.
Wait, are these all Brandon? What was his name? Brandon Sanderson. What kind of stuff is it? Oh, this is epic fantasy stuff. Or are you talking? That's what he was saying. Word up.
Is that Sword of Truth? Hang on, is he Sword of Truth or is he Wheel of Time? Because I have all those. Okay, so this is an original first edition copy of
Surviving at the Top. Donnie Trump.
I also have Art of the Deal and a whole lot of other things. I have Ann Coulter's Godless and everything. I mean, I read a ton. Like I'm just looking up there. I got Bill O'Reilly's book. Yeah. So when people say, "Well, what do you read?" I read everything. I have Tolkien. I'm a big crime and murder mystery guy. So I've got a lot of Sanderson, Cornwell, Clive Cussler.
I wish if I had met you earlier, before I was the Indian Jesus, I had a podcast that was called I Didn't Read Your Book. And the whole idea was that I didn't want to read a bunch of books, but I wanted to be able to talk to people who wrote the books. And so that was my in. I'd be like, oh well, me and the audience haven't read the book, so you need to tell us about it. And I mean, I did 30 or so episodes, but as I thought, that would be plenty of time to get to the upper echelon, and that's not how it works.
No.
Oh, come on, Funk is throwing me under the bus. So because of the fact, so let's get tell me how you don't like Lord of the Rings. That is an oversimplification. So first, let's give Morty his treat. Let's give Morty his treat.
I have the whole series of Ice and Fire, King Nirvana. Please don't do that to me. I read everything. This is the thing is like when I say that, I mean, I have C.S. Lewis, the entire series, Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe. I have his treatises on Christianity. I've got good Lord. James Patterson. I mean, just in this room alone, it's retarded. Sue Grafton.
So he's wanting to. The thing here is that because of the fact that my parents are immigrants, then and they only came here in the 80s, then there wasn't a lot of American pop culture for them to pass down to us. So when we were kids, like when you guys were watching RoboCop, and well, I mean, depending on your age, but when your parents were watching RoboCop for the 50th time, then that's how you would see that. And then later on, stuff that was popular, like Lord of the Rings, they would obviously know from the books, and it just never, I never had an opportunity to sit down and watch it. So we did a movie night, and unfortunately, it's just a matter of the fact that I completely understand that Lord of the Rings crawled so that Game of Thrones could run and all that kind of stuff. But in the same way that I love Breaking Bad, then I could never get into The Sopranos again because I tried to watch it after. And so it's not that I didn't like Lord of the Rings and said it was bad. It just didn't grip me because the chronology of what I had already seen, everything that was built on that frame just seemed tired and then done better somewhere else. So I don't like it, but I don't dislike it.
Okay.
Don't you feel like there's so much we only watched the first movie so far, but don't you feel like there's so much from the books that if I hadn't read the books, then I'm not really getting the full story? No.
Okay, so if you get the extended versions of the films, there's the only things left out. This is the problem with adaptation. Now you're making a conversation about adaptation and whether or not it's fully effective in many circumstances. I mean, look, I started very early on with The Hobbit, okay, and then I advanced into the Lord of the Rings books, and by the time I got to Two Tower, I interrupted that to read the Silmarillion, which I actually have the full hardback copy of somewhere. It may not be in here. But like it's an enormous book. It's like reading the Bible. It starts out like the Bible. It's like all the begottens and everything else. Like it's like reading Genesis. And so, but it gives you all the background into everything that you're about to experience and the formation of what's to occur. So, but you're right. I mean, adaptations are very poor compared to the original material. Regardless, I think that there's nothing better in cinema outside of the very, very beginning of the epic classics that could compare to that, right? You oftentimes hear of Citizen Kane. By the way, if you're going to film school, I'm about to give you how you go about that. But
Filmers, listen up.
If you ever have the opportunity to go to film school and pursue a degree in film cinema, if you have a professor worth their salt, they're going to show you Citizen Kane, but it's going to be like the 7th or 8th thing they show you. Well, what did they show you first? They show you the beginning of cinema. They need everybody to understand that the best kind of storytelling doesn't necessarily require words. It doesn't even like you don't even need to have express dialogue, although it's helpful when you have title cards on there telling you what's being said. Dialogue.
Yeah.
But they start you with Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and the idea of the original rotoscope, a form of frame, right? So you need to understand cinema came out of flashing pictures. That's all it was. It was like literally like one of the first rotoscope devices. You just showed you a horse race, right? It also showed you the fact that this was an interesting scientific thing that nobody knew at the time, but it showed that a horse can at one time have all 4 feet off the ground when it's running. So nobody was ever. But it's because they had a camera that could shoot quickly enough, or plates that could shoot quickly enough to do that, or set a camera.
Now they can do things that like slow down 7 million times. You can see ballistics and all that stuff. So this is a Rumble rant from Zippy.
Sorry, I can go into that.
They're just trying to get all my quirks out. So yes, Zippy says IndianJesus has timetism, so he has to be gripped by a thing to put time into it. I have word soupism, so I'm not better. What he means is that he introduced me. So on Netflix, you can, well, obviously on YouTube, you can speed things up, the playback. And so, I started doing that, I don't know, some long time ago. And it would start by just like, all right, this person's talking kind of slow. Let me just put it up to 1.25. And then I'll forget that it was up there and be like, this person's kind of slow. Let me put it up to 1.25. Oh, it's already there. Let me go to 1.5, 1.75, 2.0, whatever. Then there was a bunch of shows that I was trying that people that I respected and knew my my tastes well enough that they were saying things. I think the main one was Lost, that I'd watched Lost, but I'd fallen off because it just didn't have it. And Zippy's like, and Zippy's like, did you know that there's an extension that you can turn on that any video can get sped up? It has changed my life. And there's so many things that, ironically, there's a lot of things that because I speed it up, I get through. I don't have I'm not willing to do homework for my entertainment. I mean, I am to a certain extent, but I have to be enjoying that work. And so if you're like, sorry, King, but the show From is, I tried to watch the first season and just nothing happened. And so I'm sure eventually there's a story there, but like, I don't want to have to, take notes on this and that, so that in 4 years, something can come back and make sense. And so with Lost, it really, really helped me get through the slower parts and to the end, which I really, really appreciated.
Lost suffered from mystery box theater. And
what's that?
Well, J.J. Abrams is the originator of the idea of the mystery box. So it was why 8mm became famous, because he took an original idea from his mentor, Spielberg, and pressed forward on the idea that you could advance the idea of the MacGuffin, right? For example, the MacGuffin in Pulp Fiction's The Briefcase. And you have all these ideas of these various types of mystery boxes, but you never really answer the mystery. And that's why the most recent Star Wars threequel, I will call it the it's the Star Wars sequel of trash, is just one giant mystery box that never gets solved. So, in fact, it got broken halfway through. Normally, his mystery boxes at least lead to an end of nothing, because they killed the original bad guy. So, yeah, and everybody agrees it was awful.
So I'm gonna disagree with you here, Michael. That Lost was good until they got off the island. This is where the speeding up. No, Lost is top tier. Lost is top tier. But because of the fact that it drags for 2 seasons, then the overall, the overall story where everything comes together at the end.
No, it didn't.
Oh, please. What was not answered? What did not come together at the end of Lost?
In the most twisted way possible, the most convoluted and mess that had ever been done. I look. So we would have.
You're not somebody who thinks they were dead the whole time, right?
Oh no, I think it was garbage the whole time, but it doesn't matter. Someday you and I'll have to do this, but this is not the night. This is like a 6-hour conversation. You have no idea how angry I am with that. He is the worst creator I've ever seen in my life. Right. And he did some stuff that I think is okay. Star Trek, he fudged in the booty hole. The dude was a fudgesicle manufacturer. That was complete garbage.
And see, I hate to burst your bubble here, but again, never seen Star Wars, never seen Star Trek, and I have a bunch of Star Trek on a hard drive. But I've wanted somebody who's a big fan to watch with me, so that I could be like,
I will be your watch party buddy.
Let's
dude.
go. Let's go. Movie nights, whatever culture is free. We can go through Star Wars, we can go through Star Trek.
I tell you what, like I do like every other Tuesday with my members, right? I do movie night. Like the rewards members get it once a month, the gold members get it twice a month, and the high rollers get it every time there's a third Tuesday in a month. But it's me and it's me. I just said my name. It's me and Comics Division. Because his name starts with a she. He also knows Ian K. He's on Friday Night Tights. You guys probably seen him before. Comics Division. Anyway, he and I watch movies every other two. We just did one actually yesterday, right? Because today's Wednesday. Yeah, we just did. We watched Naked Gun. The 2 Tuesdays before that, we watched Airplane. But dude, I'm a huge movie guy. I mean, I can probably tell you more about a movie as we go through it than like most people, but because again, I wanted to be in cinema, so that was like one of the most important classes I took in college. Was like I was trying to do that. But anyway, yeah, chat is slow. You guys talk faster. Anyway, so but we need to do that. Why not? I'll show you how to set up a StreamYard does this. You can do a webinar, which means you actually have a non YouTube tied link that you can send out through your community tab, because you have a community tab, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you send out the link to your members or whoever wants to sign up, right? And then they sign up. They just use their screen name like they do here on the regular chat, plus an active email is all they need. And then they can join us watching the actual movie on screen with us as we watch it, because it's not on YouTube.
This man just changed the entire way that the Indian Jesus Discord community is going to run. I did not know that. I've always seen that they have that. Webinar thing.
I will walk you through it, dude. I promise. I'll pull you in on my StreamYard just so show you how to do it on your StreamYard. It's one of the best things. I mean, we've just discovered it in the last 6 months and started doing. I mean, it's been there forever. I just hadn't played with it before. But he and I decided, you know what, we need to give our members more. This is one of the things we can do. I'm telling you, it's super fun, and especially for stuff that everybody wants to watch.
Yeah, we've done a couple, in just within the Discord.
This skips that. I mean, and if you have it depends on the size of your StreamYard plan, but like I can host almost 1,000 people, like doing one of these watch parties. So it's super fun.
All right, so I'll give this to you. We were talking a little bit before. And so Michael really wants to hear about morality. He was asking about religion and that stuff. So he says that I switch to whatever system morality matches my feelings on any given issue. Press him on this. So that's very wrong. But So as somebody who grew up in the Catholic Church, eventually switched to a Methodist Church, and then right around the time when I went to college, studying psychology, philosophy, and for the first time actually read the Bible, then I lost my faith, and I have a great respect for what Christianity can bring, but my position is basically that you don't need a dogmatic religion in order to have a moral structure as an individual.
Okay, that's
Run, Chad.
okay.
Are we getting a raid? Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, and thank you. But I'll say this. What?
You mean what?
Well, okay, so
What's confusing?
you because you have to have a central. Yeah, you have to have a centering ideology, something that guides your decisions in order to make those said decisions. So, this is why I don't understand this conversation. I was not anticipating having, but this is why I don't understand why people can be atheists, because then you technically you're telling everybody every day you believe in nothing.
No, I believe in a lot of things, just not a
No,
God.
no. What's your decision making process based on? Like your treatment of your fellow man is based somewhere. What's it based on?
Sure. So as Michael's asking, how do you determine what's good and what is evil? I do believe that there's nothing inherent to the universe about morality. I don't think that there is a actual good and evil. However, there is a clear spectrum.
Let's step
Wait,
farther back.
So there is a clear spectrum of behaviors and ideas that are more conducive to the best flourishing of all people, and there's ideas that move us closer to the worst suffering for all people. So if we're talking about morality and we're not talking about that spectrum, what do you mean by morality?
No, let me ask you a question. So let me ask you a question, because this all gets deeper. I do.
You think you do? Prove it.
Okay. How do you know what's good or bad for someone else?
I mean, it depends on the circumstance. Depends on the person.
Okay.
Depends on.
Wait. You're walking through a subway, and somebody sets somebody else on fire. That happened recently. Okay. Did the person setting the other person on fire? Were they justified? Was there some reason for them to create suffering in another person?
Of course not.
Well, why? What do you have to base that on?
Because if people are just burning other people around, that's not flourishing. That person who's being burned is not enjoying that.
The person that maybe ignited the other person's now flourishing.
Come on, wait.
No.
You're going to blame me on the fact that people don't want to be set on fire?
No, maybe they didn't want to be set on fire, but that person definitely wanted to set them on fire.
Okay, and so then we have two conflicting desires, and one of them, one person has the desire and the ideology and the behavior that will lead to human flourishing, and the other wants to burn a bitch.
Yeah, except no, they're flourishing. They were very excited and happy that they set somebody else on fire.
Okay, but we're not.
So neither of them are wrong.
No,
this person
who's creating harm.
By your nothing ideology, the person that got set on fire didn't want that to happen, but the person that set them on fire wanted it to happen. The person that set them on fire, flourishing. The other person, not so much.
Okay, but again, you have to. Weren't you the zoom out person? So again, it's not about individual.
That is about as zoomed out as you get, dude.
No, you're talking about two individuals. I'm talking about a society where you burn people.
Sure.
Okay, so if we can, you have to look at it through the lens of if everybody did this, what would happen?
Okay,
so if everybody did X and the world gets better for people, then that's a moral good.
Okay, but here's the thing. Now you've arrived in Incan times.
Okay,
you step back. Okay, we'll step back a whole long freaking way if you want to. We're gonna go sacrifice this person up here. We're gonna cut their heart out. Sounds like a party because we believe that all of a sudden that's gonna make a better harvest. Sound like a party?
Yeah, but they're wrong because again, if we do that to people, then they don't live.
Okay, but this is the problem with that argument. Okay, let's step out even further. You're basing your decision-making process on somebody flourishing, correct?
Yeah.
Humanity flourishing.
Well, right.
you cannot possibly do that. If I sacrifice one person, my entire culture and my entire village is going to be more successful.
Again, that's a zoomed in on an individual thing.
No, it isn't. I apply to an entire society. This entire group of people.
So explain that then. How is that a rule of thumb that if you kill people that your society's better?
I don't know. How is it that if you don't kill people, your society's better?
Because then people get to live and enjoy things.
People die all the time
and flourish, right? What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Exactly what I just said.
Okay, look, maybe I'm stupid. Please. So the fact that people die means that since people don't want to die.
What is the value of human life is the problem. See, you're centering it around being human.
Yep.
See, this is a big problem.
I mean, sentience in general, but yeah, humanity.
You don't know that. There are lots of things that could be sentient. You don't know what
I know that.
So in the universe. Yeah.
Right. But what I don't know doesn't. I'm not going to apply my ideology to things I don't know. But the central tenet.
Wait a minute. You absolutely are. The minute you believe in atheism, which is a belief system, by the way, sorry, just is. You're believing to. Yes, you are. You're believing not to believe in God.
That's not what that means.
Yes,
that's not a belief. So
yeah, it is. So it is a belief.
So you have a
wait. So let's get back to that. So universe came from nothing. Where did it come from? How are we here? What happened? Okay. So guess what you get to know in religion? You don't know. You don't know. You have something unique called faith. And I understand you went from Catholicism to Methodism to nothingism. Okay. And that's fine.
Not nothingism. It's a much more well established. That's what I was trying to tell you, that it's not just, and I definitely understand when you hear atheist, you think your typical leftist atheist, rah blue hair. I get it. But those are all the people who advertise that they're atheists. That also doesn't include the people who call themselves Christians but don't actually read the Bible, go to church.
I do.
Other things. So
we've had we had a background. We had a background.
But my point is that you're saying that none of those people can have any basis for morality unless they believe in the thing you believe in. Okay, fair. Prove that thing exists, and I will believe in it.
Okay. Well, I can prove the universe exists, and you have no idea how we got here. That's different.
Okay. What does that have to do with God?
Where did we come from? Where did it come from? Where did everything come from? Why is the math wrong when it comes to the Big Bang Theory? Why is the way that we're expanding completely different? I mean, there's a whole lot of things here. I didn't want to get into a religious conversation. I told you this.
I gave you the option. I gave you the option. You dove right in.
I know. Of course I did, because it's silly to me. Look, prove X. A conversation never starts good with prove X. Okay, and I could say prove there's not a God. It's the same conversation.
Oh, brother.
Prove there's not a God.
I think that's a philosophically logical statement.
No,
how do you prove that something doesn't exist if it doesn't exist?
Well, how do you prove something? How do you prove that?
I'm not trying to prove anything.
You have to.
You're the one trying to prove it. You're the one trying to prove that whatever your morality is based in this God, in this religion. And I'm saying, okay, fine. How do you know that?
Okay. How do you know that there's no God?
I don't.
Right.
I never said there was no God. I simply don't have the belief that there is a God.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Those are two complete. That's why it's not a religion. It's not. It's a complete.
But I don't see where moral structure comes from.
If you could convince me that God was real, then I would believe you.
I believe you.
But I don't think that you can, because I don't think that you have you rely on faith, which is fine. And I'm glad that you are relying on faith and have a moral structure that is better than these leftist atheist assholes. I'm glad for that. But that doesn't mean that you're correct and accurate when you're talking about the universe.
Where does your moral structure come from?
As I just told you, that spectrum of
except that every single religion.
So if that's not good enough, then again, what do you mean by morality? Because when I thought I'm talking about what is good, again,
what is good and evil?
Okay, and so again, if I don't believe that there is an inherent good and evil, just like the game of chess, where there's no inherent rules of the universe, that chess has to be this way, that way, that way. It has to be the queen goes first. We made up chess. We made up chess. So, but once that game is established, once those rules are established, there are objectively better and worse moves in chess. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Okay, but no, that look, if you're talking about that, but let's not.
No, because it's a direct analogy. So
it's a differing no,
because just hear me and then you can say where I'm wrong.
The rules of the game. So
so I didn't. That was you do agree or you don't agree
about what?
About that the rules of chess. There's objective better and worse moves in chess.
According to who?
According to the rules of chess.
Sure, there's a game. There's rules made.
Right.
The question is, where did the rules come from?
Somebody made them up.
Sure, and somebody made up the fact that there was, and somebody made up the fact that there wasn't a God.
Okay, fine, but whether that is true, one of those is correct.
Sure, but it doesn't.
That either exists or doesn't exist.
But I'll just say this: games are a poor analogy. The fact that a decision about whether killing is killing good or bad?
Bad.
Based on what?
Based on people's desire to live, and the desire to live allows us to procreate and build and flourish in society. So again, I come back to this notion of it seems like you're saying, okay, you don't have any basis for wanting all of the right things. Okay, maybe I don't, but do I want all the right things? Seems like I do.
I don't know yet.
And that's why I have a very strong reverence for what Christianity does in our society.
All right. So let me ask you a question. Is it moral to take a 12-year-old as your bride?
No.
Okay, based on what?
Based on the ability for that child to understand.
Well, no, because your whole argument is something's good or bad for humanity.
Right.
Okay.
So again, if we are marrying off 12-year-olds that are not prepared to be able to consent to that situation, then that's bad for human flourishing and well-being.
Who made that decision and why?
It's not a decision. It's empirically true. We have science. We know that certain things are work better than other things. We don't have it all figured out. As I said, I don't know fucking what happened before the Big Bang, or if there is a before the Big Bang, or how the Big Bang happened, or any of those things.
Before our modernity showed up, it was totally fine to marry 12-year-olds and procreate.
Well, according to who? According to who?
I'm just going to ask you. That's a great question. So according to who?
Okay, so according to the opinions of the people in charge, not any empirical data that 12-year-olds are developmentally mature enough to be able to enter into something like that.
So from where?
So empirically, unless you disagree, are you saying you should?
You know better than that.
Right,
you know better.
All right, I'm just making sure.
You know better than that. That's part of my argument, right? Is like I 100% agree that you need to be of, a lawful age in consideration of whether or not you're actually a full-formed adult. That was not the standard before. What changed that?
Science and empiricism, neuroscience, childhood development, understanding. hold on, 12 years old, even though you may be biologically able to carry a child, this is a very. You asked me the question, brother. You're asking me a question. I'm trying to answer the question. And you're
Go ahead.
You asked me why that changed, because we stopped looking towards gurus and religious books for our rules, and we started looking at the actual empirical science. What can a 12-year-old understand? What is the impact of a marriage and a baby and a family on a person? Does that empirically, the neuroscience of what a child at 12 years old empirically is that matching with what we are throwing at them? That's the exact reason why trans stuff for kids is bad. Do we agree that trans in kids is bad?
Well, I think that's a given. No,
it's not though. And I asked for a purpose. So why then is it? Why is it bad?
It is exploiting the idea that people that wanted, or children that wanted to be a fire engine one year and want to be a girl the next year is inherently not accurate. So,
so again, why is it wrong? I'm here. I got you. Don't worry.
No, what was what wrong?
No, marrying the 12-year-olds.
Apparently science by your definition.
No. I'm asking you why you personally believe that it's wrong to you didn't like when I suggested that maybe you would be okay with it.
No,
So I'm just asking for your specific reasoning.
Because there are only two sexes. Your physical vessel is what you are. That's it. What if I want to believe that I'm something different? You can believe that you're an airplane. I don't care. I'm just saying.
So why shouldn't I be able to live out my beliefs?
Go for it. You become an airplane, but you're also an adult person who actually understands the consequences of your act, or at least I hope you do. I don't know. Irrational seems to be high on the menu right now. But your morality, your decision-making process comes from Christianity. So
yes, correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. As I stated, I grew up in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
I was born into the Catholic Church. Then I went over. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying Christianity is all bad. I just don't believe that the truth claims are true. And so the question is, just like King Yvonne was saying, if I come to all the same answers to what's wrong and what's wrong right as you do, then why is it important that I have a reason behind those?
Well,
clearly, whatever that reason is bringing me to the same conclusion as you. So why is it so important?
I just want to say thank you for enjoying the Christian country you live in, and check out the amazing chat that says you're boring them to tears, bro.
Oh, you fucking leave. I don't know who said that.
I don't know. Arrow. Some other people left. I feel bad.
Okay, I mean we can move on, but
no.
That's fine.
I am already here because I think you're great.
I'm leaving it up to you, man. I'm totally down to keep going. If you want to switch the topic, I have another question to ask you. It's up to you.
No, okay. So the topic I want to switch to is, dude, I want to do this movie thing, and then you decided to be super anti-religious. I don't know what
I was purposely not bringing up Michael's chats because of what you said. Then you answered him in the chat, and then I brought it up. I said, we don't have to do this, but if you want to do this, they are asking about this. We don't have to keep talking about it. We want to go actually.
Just so the audience is clear, there's no drama here.
Oh, it's all love, baby. It's all love. They know it's good. They know it's good.
No, I just have to explain that because some of the people that follow me, I don't do drama. I don't do debate. I don't do a lot of this kind of thing, except for when people come in my chat and decide that they're like going to be super chud, and then it's a different conversation. But
yeah, and so let's go, and we'll do a hybrid, so we could move away from this, but still we're talking about the same.
It's okay. It's fine. You're still wrong. I don't care.
Feelings mutual. So you just did a video on a bunch of I was watching it while I was setting up the stream, so I don't remember exactly what was said. But New York City teachers and just go into town with their students. Why is that something that is so common?
We covered that. We covered that on Sunday night's show. Right, the fact that they were over hundreds in the last few years have been bonking their students. Why is that happening? Hypersexualism in our culture. That's it's actually a very simple answer. And you know what? Arrow's right. Jesus is just all right with me. Just saying.
Which one? That was a joke. That was a joke.
Yeah, the guy that takes care of my lawn. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Well, that's my joke as to when anyone says my name is blasphemous, and I don't know what happened to it, but it was a perfect TikTok.
How is it blasphemous? Okay, because like the highest form of culture in the Hispanic culture is to name your people after biblical biblical references, right? I mean, is especially in Spanish. So it's the same in the Catholic culture and even here in the United States. I mean, you get a lot of Johns, Matthews, Luke. I mean, you get that. That's a common name. Why? Well, it's a name in the Bible. It's an honor. It's an honorary reference. I'm just like, why? Hey, Jesus, it's a freaking great name. Come on now.
I was about I was about to. I mean, yeah, actually, you know what? Let me just not even say it.
No,
So
go ahead.
no. Something about my own stuff.
But why?
That
But my question is,
I'll tell
why
you. I'll
would
tell you once we break
why
off,
would
because
why
it's
would
for them.
anybody
It's
take offense to that? That's crazy.
no. It has nothing at all to do with that.
I love Jesus.
So so everybody's here again. You're your own man. You are allowed to do whatever you like. But we do an after party after this, and we're in Discord. And for being a guest, you would obviously have the privileges to join. So they are saying, and I am saying, we would very much like to see you at least for a little bit. But obviously, we are taking a lot of your time right now, so we appreciate that very much.
I turned on Discord. It's updating for like 11 years because I haven't turned it on forever. Holy shit.
Yeah, right. But so the shift in the culture, because there's always been this notion like there's always been one, right? The teacher, the old or not the older, the hot teacher gets with the student. There's always been stories around. But from what I understand about what you guys were talking about on stream is that within New York City specifically, it was way more way more apparent.
Okay.
Yes or no? Or
oh no! Look, the coasts have always been extremely retarded.
I agree with that.
Sorry, I mean, what do you want me to say? I just, California is as diabolical as you imagine, and New York is as underworld as they could possibly be. I mean, what do you want? You literally you can find people that enjoy butchering animals underground in tunnels in New York City. And in California, you literally can find people. Gosh, I'm not even going to say it. There's lots of crazy shit going on, kids. So yeah, no, I'm not surprised.
So yeah, they were talking about how there was a bunch of teachers in New York City that were sleeping with students. But do
you have the Post article? Because that's one of the best ones.
I do not. What
for this? Yeah, no, it's New York teachers 100 or something like that. Probably the keywords for the search, but it's on the New York Post. But yeah, and it's weird because the numbers are crazy. And it's more women than you'd think. There you go. I used this on late night. By the way, we were way too sexual on last Sunday night show. I got to find less sex. Way less sex in that show.
Fair enough. All right, guys. So again, just really quick, we did unfortunately miss the goal, but I put up a new one, and we only have 4 more. If we get 4 more, then Morty gets his peanut butter, and we will keep the party raging, even if culture has to leave us. But for now, let's dive into this headline from 4 days ago. More than 100 NYC educators accused of sexual relationships, communications with students, as DOE finally mulls a crackdown. So dozens of New York City educators have been accused of having inappropriate, often sexual relationships with sexual relationships and communications with students, with some requesting nude snaps or applying them with money, gifts, or drugs. New recent records show 32 more cases of educators and other staffers engaged in improper communications with kids were substantiated by the special commissioners of the investigation, boosting the total to at least 121 from 2018 to 2024, up from the tallied 89 in May. So what made you guys want to specifically discuss that?
So for me, a lot of times I build my shows on the ideas that this is absurd, right? This is like a societal wrong. And when I looked at this, I thought it would kind of be amusing at the same time, because it was a pretty decent balance of male and female teachers that were hitting on students that were way below like what should be the threshold. It's incredibly unprofessional, specifically in a city that is quite corrupted. And I thought that would be an interesting conversation, in that, it doesn't it doesn't matter male or female. Everybody's chasing the wrong tail. A few weeks before in 2024, we talked about hag maxing, the idea that younger gentlemen were hitting on older ladies and forming relationships with them, and maybe going on and marrying them because the women were established and the dudes were like the super slackers we have now, the super weak soy boys that are out there in the world, that probably don't believe in God. But anyway,
how dare they? How dare they? The heathens. The heathens.
No. That was a fun shot at you. But the idea being that it was crazy because we've seen this, and in dudes it's like particularly unattractive and morally corrupt to me. Maybe not you, but to me. And then
yes, I agree. I was saying
are you sure?
I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. But well, Michael is asking, true or false? A female teacher can't take advantage of a 16.
This was part of the conversation, Michael. Thank you, dude. No,
shout out to Michael.
Yeah, no. It's that. It's like, look, like people think that you cannot take advantage of a 16-year-old dude. I'm like, dudes are dumb. Like, do you think with their peen? It's true story.
True.
Right. So, like, if some hot teacher that's going to give you a good grade rolls up on you and says, hey, you want to get down? First of all, they wouldn't even have to tell you you're going to get a good grade. They just want to see if you're going to get down.
I remember Miss. I didn't remember her first name, but
I had two of them. I had two of them, right, dude, through middle school and high school. I was like, brown chicken, brown cow. Anyway, so but that's the problem, right? It's like dudes, if given an opportunity, they're gonna do the dirty. So ultimately, this is the truest conversation you're ever going to have. Women control sex and men control relationships. So, because the access to sex is driven by the lady, which is why I think it's really weird that you guys are throwing it out there for everybody to catch. Like you're like the striped bass that just is biting every hook, whereas the dude is the fisherman, right? And he's been throwing his hook out there forever. The minute you strike that hook, he's going to tag that. You went for the bait, he's going to tag that fish. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's like that weird situation that I was like, okay. In this situation, the teacher has not only the control dynamic, right, which is incredibly unethical, to take advantage of somebody who's in a much lower position in that kind of a situation. Like socially, get down, get dirty, whatever you got to do. But in a position where there's a control dynamic in play, a power dynamic in play, this is disgusting. And there's nothing more than like, seriously, if you're in college and you want to get a good grade and the professor says want to bang, the dude's going to line up for that. First of all, but the ladies are a little bit more selective because they control sex, but with a power dynamic, it's much less of a selective field. And that's the problem. And that's why this Baldoni and Blake Lively things going on in entertainment. And, it's why you end up with some people like Harvey Weinstein. It's just like there's a power dynamic. So like a lot of people would not gone after the small worm of the Weinstein if there hadn't been a chance at a film career at the end of that.
Sure, and that's actually a great a segue. And so Michael's saying male and female 100% matters, and you're silly to say it doesn't. Agree. But
I think I just did.
But is that the same thing as saying it's no big deal if a male student sleeps with a female teacher? Do you think it's fine, or it's just not as bad if a male teacher were to fuck a female student?
Okay. Here's the weird thing. I think there's a problem either way. Doesn't matter.
Okay, I agree, and I agree that it's not. In some ways, it's not as bad, but it's bad enough that I don't really necessarily think that
it's equally bad. I look, you and I are going to disagree on that. It's fine, but it's equally bad. There is several different factors in play, teachers and students. trust factor, ethics, morality is a whole lot of problems. No, Michael, I love you, but no.
So that's what we're saying here, Michael, is that even though, I'm saying that even though I think there is a slight difference because of all the things that we're talking about, there is still, I don't think that on average, if a male student fucks his teacher, the level of issues that comes with that, there will be issues that come with that. The level and how much that plays into that person's life as they get older, I think is going to be less dramatic on average than if it was a female student and a male teacher. That being said, they're both bad enough that they will scar you for life.
Well, it's not even just that. And again, as much as I do not like to link into the victim mentality in that particular situation, there's a victim.
That's literally what we said.
Yeah. I think I said that out loud.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you did. You did.
Yeah, but when it comes to this situation, this is the thing that bothered me the most. Who's responsible for the kid? If there's a kid produced out of this, this is a problem, right? Somebody is making an adult decision, and somebody isn't. And it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female on either side of that equation.
Right.
Who's responsible?
That's why we got to disagree with you here, Michael.
That it's the only time I would do that.
A man is an adult male.
Well,
child is not an adult.
Okay, so let's say there are biological differences, which he and I got into an argument about a few moments ago. Brain formation is completely different. Level of understanding. What's gosh, I forget this part of the brain that decides or
corpus
reaches
callosum.
It's the outcome. So like males of a young age aren't necessarily looking at what the ultimate end game would be at a younger age. They will eventually. It's usually about 24, somewhere between 24 and 26. But up until that point, I mean, oftentimes they're ruled over by the emotional and biochemical that's going on in them, rather than, applying reasoning and logic to the situation. Regardless, somebody's more mature, somebody's not mature. And that's kind of the way you look at it. And
absolutely agreed.
Yeah. So
agreed.
I am actually running out of time.
I was just gonna say I don't want to take up too much of it, so I will give you the floor in case you guys were not here at the beginning. Let's tell them one more time. Culture Casino, who are you? What do you do? And where can they find you?
I'm not excusing anybody's actual sin. Everybody's at sin there. They're all culpable. That's not the conversation. It's who is responsible, not culpable. Different conversation. I will say this, morality wise, they're both at fault. But myself, Culture Casino, I have a YouTube channel. I have two. I have Culture Casino as my main channel. I have that game place, obviously an offshoot of That Park Place, the journalism site that you can visit every day for new information. But check me out. I produce at least one live stream every single day. Unless I'm on vacation. I just burped, I'm sorry. But unless I'm on vacation, and I produce regular videos, sometimes 1 to 3 a day, easily, sometimes more live streams per day. I'm going to be in Florida, Orlando, next week. Not next week. Yeah, next week, starting on the 5th through the 9th for the Orlando meetup event with G&G, Nerdrotic, and everybody else. We'll be hanging out at the Orlando MegaCon, the convention there, which is a lot of fun. And I'll have a content house, which means you'll probably see more than one live stream a day. Not to mention the fact that, I do a lot of other things on a lot of different channels. I'm on Mr. H Reviews HCast. I'm on WDW Pro Live. I'm on Comics Division's channel 2 to 3 times a week. You can find me almost anywhere. If you turn on YouTube, decent chance I'm somewhere. So do check that out.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so very much for the discussion. I'm sure we will have more to talk about in the future. Your X and the Culture Casino channel is linked in the description. As soon as you jump off, I'll get a link from that game the game place and drop that in there as well. Thank you again for coming on. I think this was, I love being challenged in these ways, and I didn't mean to put you in a corner where you didn't necessarily want to be. But
it's fine. I could have been more prepared on the religious argument, because there are some wonderful things that would say, where is this from? Where is that from? How come this is here? Why is that? The problem is I don't want to approach it that way. I want to just say, you have morality. It's clear. It didn't come from nowhere, and we didn't get there. But I don't want to do this now. We'll do this another time.
Yeah.
And
we'll
so
set it for another time. Give you time to prepare.
You all could expect me to hang out with this guy more. I like him. We had so much fun over on Mike's channel. So. And if you're not following Mikey Harlow, you're missing out. Mike is like one of the best humans on the planet. So.
Hell yes, and that is how we came together. So a big shout out to Mike Harlow once again. Culture Casino, very, very, very much appreciate your time. Let's not take any more of it. I will see you around the Twitterverse, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
Yes.
You have a good one.
Thank you.
All right. I've got to piss so bad. So here's what are we gonna do? Let me just put on video, because we got some stuff to talk about, right? We got some stuff to talk about, and you guys, some of you guys. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This you don't need to see all that. Yeah. Okay. And all right, I'm thinking let's just dive right into this one.
Lions, all you your Glocks and your switches and your shiesties, we need you right now at the White House. We're not doing that grazing his skin, his ear, okay? We're going full-blown Lincoln, full-blown Kennedy right now. Like, off with that head. I'm sorry, like, I know we're not supposed to wish death upon people, and it doesn't matter, like, which side they're on, blah, blah, blah. No. I don't give a anymore. I don't give a anymore. And you obviously know that because I'm posting this. Off with it. Someone get up there. I need someone with precision that knows what they're doing. I'm about to call up the Wyans in Beaumont, Texas, because of what's going on. And I don't know. I mean, maybe if you shoot him, maybe the next president will give you a pardon for it and you'll be released out of jail. So, like,
I mean, okay. So in case you missed the last stream and don't know what cute winter boots is, go check out that stream. All right, what did we miss here? So yeah, Michael, that is initially why I was kind of jumping around your comments about morality and God and stuff, because he specifically said, I don't really like to talk about it that much, but he said it a couple of times. He was watching the chat and then he answered you directly. So I was like, okay, maybe that's a sign that he's willing to. And then correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I threw it out there and said we don't have to go down this road. I have other stuff to talk about. But if he's anything like me, that was never an option. And so that's why I didn't want to push too hard on that. And we will definitely have time to go through that. So let's see what I missed. What is this about the teachers? I don't think so. Takabaga said we have an age of consent laws for a reason. A high schooler can't consent to an adult teacher. It would be RPA, no matter the guy or girl. Bingo. And that is, it's ironic that religious practices are how we got to fucking children. But and empiricism, how we got away from it, but we'll have that conversation when he is ready. Let's just say Anselm wrote that everyone was born with sin in 1098 AD. Fair enough. Funkmaster said, "I've never sinned." Well, I can't measure up to that, man. Dilly, and Michael said that's the worst sin. How dare you? Leslie said there's not a lot of evidence before the hells of the Hindus. Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of evidence for any of it. And you said, Leslie said, I don't think culture is capable of having a secular conversation. I think he can. I think he didn't want to go down that road. No, it's perfectly fine. I made the decision to throw it to him. I'm realizing that when you give people options, they kind of just act like, oh, you're asking me because you want me to do this thing. Like the last time I told Dr. Evil Genius, I was like, hey, no pressure if you want to come up on and talk about this. He was like, oh, well, you said no pressure. I'm like, yeah, that means no pressure. If you don't want to do it, it's fucking cool. And so, maybe that's a flaw of mine, that I'm not clear enough that I'm giving you the choice. But so and yeah, I mean, it's just a something that needs a lot more digging into, and so I'll leave it at the fact of exactly what King Nirvana said, that something I say all the time, that if we all have these ideas, this is our position. Why does it matter if I came from over here and you all came from over there? I have yet to get an answer to that question. Bertrand Russell was around way before either of us. The arguments are not there, and that's why faith is a thing. And that's fine if you want to have faith in a thing, but you can't tell me that I have no basis just because you made one up. Nobody has a basis for morality. That's the point. That's exactly the point. And so, in terms of the average non-believer, or the average non-believer buying into that, that's where my work is building the story that, somebody who doesn't really care about being a good person, somebody who doesn't really care about those things, that they can have a reason to behave well, instead of being, a hedonist atheist who just does whatever they want and all that kind of stuff. But there is plenty of time to get into that. Let's head over to the after party. Before we do that, I want to get a big thank you to all of the donations. Zippy was coming in hot with the Rumble rants. We had Holly's first ever super chat to me. Zippy again. And then, of course, our boy, Master General. And then it wasn't done. It wasn't done. You guys kept going. I am so appreciative. I am so appreciative. And just so you guys know, in general, this is kind of the way that super chat, like, I get that it's all for the dog, but like, if you put a question or you put something of value in the chat of the super chat, then you're more likely to have me talking about that chat instead of just, sending an empty one, which, hey, you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying, that's a good way to use it. But you guys did it. You came through for me. So thank you so very, very much. I really do appreciate the fact that you guys spend this time with me. And a big thank you to not just Culture Casino for coming through and be willing to have these discussions, but also Mike Harlow for introducing us and inviting me to be part of that stream. I am dying here. We have 99 views, and I just want to wait till it's a clean 100. And I don't think that's going to happen. Don't think it's going to happen. But that's all right. 99 is enough for me. Guys, thank you so much. If you are new here, please do have to hit that subscribe button, guys. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit the subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Once again, guys, this is Morty, the Overlord, and I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until the next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.